Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple, your no shit gaming news video. That's 3 news stories in one video with zero faff. The Mass Effect trilogy is one of the most critically acclaimed video game franchises of all time, and after starting the series for the very first time myself earlier this year, it's not hard to see why. Each game does have its own flaws, and I'm yet to get to the controversial third entry, but it is the definitive sci-fi RPG video game series. However, after Mass Effect 3 was considered a letdown by many fans and the endlessly ridiculed spin-off Mass Effect Andromeda, the franchise has been in a state of limbo. Talk of remasters is always hot with this franchise, but more information keeps coming out to suggest that it may in fact be real. Recently, news came that EA may be looking to launch a Mass Effect trilogy remaster that would release before the end of the fiscal year, i.e. before the end of next March. The idea for a while was that the game would be coming in October, or at least would be officially announced then, but now that date may be in flux. Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat, who has a proven track record with these sorts of things, revealed on a podcast a number of things about the game. A link to the full 1 hour and 25 minute podcast is in the description, so if you jump to around the 1 hour 4 minute mark you'll find the conversation, but I've got a few key quotes here. Up until like this last week, I know the plan for sure was to announce it in early October, release it later in October, so good news. Maybe bad news, it's 2020, maybe that could start to slip. It sounds like maybe that's a possibility, nothing for sure yet. I know it's real, I've seen more than enough evidence to know it's real, but it's still 2020 and they haven't announced it yet. Grubb has been on the money in the past about this sort of thing, so he's a pretty reliable source, so it sounds like a remaster is definitely real, but the release date and the announcement is still uncertain due to the current stellar sickness situation and everything going on with the world. He explained that, in addition to Star Wars Squadrons, which will sell for $40, Mass Effect is the other big new game for EA to close out the year. I think they were planning to have this Mass Effect trilogy be the other big thing for $60 this holiday, so that's why I'm pretty confident it will make it out. But with everything else falling apart, like across the board, I could see them also wanting to just delay. But that's not for sure, that's not a guarantee yet, like that hasn't even been decided yet, it just seems like a possibility that's on the table, but last I heard, October for both. Remaster is a tricky term these days, and distinctions need to be made. Remasters are typically just visual overhauls without any significant technical changes, like with Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. On the other hand, remakes tend to rebuild the game from the ground up and can even change its genre. Such was the case with Resident Evil 2 Remake, which went from fixed camera and tank controls to over-the-shoulder third person. Then there's the situation with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which only covers part of the original story, but also punches in a bunch of brand new material, plenty of which has significant implications for the rest of the story. In the case of Mass Effect, Grubb described it as an upgrade. People always ask me, is this going to be a full remake or is it going to be more like an upgrade? I don't know for sure, I would probably lean towards upgrade. I think when I asked around about this, that was the kind of vibe I was getting, and I think that's what people should expect for sure. I think the trilogy definitely needs an upgrade in terms of gameplay. The original game is really stiff to play in 2020 and feels very outdated in its shooting. The RPG mechanics are totally fine as they are, and the story is actually my favourite that I've played so far, but the fundamentals of the shooting mechanics need to be sharpened. The same goes for Mass Effect 2, but to a lesser extent, as that game was already leaning more heavily into the shooter side of things than the first game. The main thing this remaster has to get right beyond keeping the good stuff and fixing the bad is all the DLC. Mass Effect had plenty of DLC, but some of it was very controversial, like entire characters and significant story points that were only available with certain editions of the game. EA is no stranger to this sort of bullshit and could totally pull the same crap all over again and not include all the DLC for the trilogy, but it's such a no-brainer to just include everything in one neat package. Since I only started the franchise this year, I fast-tracked my love of the series, and I'm super excited for a remaster, but what do you think? Are you looking forward to getting back on board the Normandy, or has EA burned all its bridges with Mass Effect? And next up, cheating in video games can be a great way to have more fun with your experience, but if you're doing that in a multiplayer game, you're just a piece of shit. Call of Duty is always a hotbed for cheaters, and probably always will be, especially with the free-to-play Battle Royale version, Warzone. Back in February, console players even began to disable crossplay with PC to limit the number of cheaters they were forced to play with. That, and so they wouldn't get annihilated by sweaty mouse and keyboard players. Activision has finally taken a significant step to stop the problem by launching a cease and desist letter to a cheat seller website known as cxcheats.net. The website is apparently still up at the time of writing, but struggled to load when I tried to access it. Some of the cheats the site offered involved old favourites like aimbots and radar boost, but also lobby tools and menu mods. This news was revealed in the website's Discord server on Thursday, which said, "At everyone, as some of you may know, Activision Publishing Incorporated has filed a lawsuit against cxcheats.net and has made it clear to us that our services violate their terms of use. As a result of our lawsuit with Activision, we have agreed to cease development and support for all Call of Duty related products or services sold through the site. These products will not be returned turn into CX cheats in any form. You also should be aware that using third-party tools in Call of Duty may result in the suspension or banning of your account by Activision Publishing Incorporated or the game's developers. We apologize for any pain we've caused players of Call of Duty. They claim to apologize as if they didn't know exactly what they were doing was completely wrong. And no, they're really not sorry because they're still continuing to sell cheats for games like Apex Legends and PUBG. It's clearly a case of I'm not sorry for doing it, I'm sorry I got caught. Cheaters in multiplayer games ruin the fun for everyone, and the owners of this website are literally profiting from it, so it sounds like justice to me.
But I'm also a big fan of justice.
Unfortunately, that Discord server is now shut down, and I was really looking forward to watching some of these cheaters grovel. What makes this even better is that after removing all Call of Duty cheats, cxcheats.net has also removed support for them, leaving many buyers unhappy. Several customers are complaining and asking for refunds, which I find absolutely hysterical. If you're buying something illegal, or in this case just against Activision's terms of service, you can't exactly expect any sort of security, and in my mind, you don't deserve it because you're just a dirty cheater. Maybe you should have considered that before paying for cheats in a video game. If I was Activision, I'd make sure that my lawsuit demanded a list of CX Cheats customers and instantly ban all of those accounts. So if you ever see usernames like Boos, Slinky1, Vitro Wars, or Kako appear in your lobby, maybe consider switching the session. The user Vitro Wars even claimed to have spent $60 on the menu for Black Ops 3, which is still a paid product, unlike Warzone, which is free to play. What kind of a loser spends $60 to cheat in a game, let alone one that came out in 2015, so we'll have no one playing it? Either that, or he bought it with the game at release, which is even more ridiculous. But Activision doesn't really care about cheaters unless it affects their profits, and I wouldn't be surprised if the only reason it took legal action this time was that these cheats were being sold. I wonder if later down the line Activision is going to add its own aimbot and radar boost cheats for a price in its own store. It's unclear what exactly Activision's lawsuit involves. It's possible that this is only a preventative measure that bars the development and sale of cheats on the website, but it could also have some more money attached to it if Activision claimed damages. Either way though, I'm just glad to have fewer cheaters in gaming. And finally, Fall Guys is still dominating the world and just raised $1 million in charity donations. The game has additional monetization in the form of skins, and pretty much every game company has been pitching their own ideas to get their characters or brand in the game. The developer behind Fall Guys, Mediatonic, ran a competition where people could pledge any amount of money they liked, and the highest bidder would get their character in the game, with all the money going to the charity Special Effect. This charity helps people with various disabilities using video games. The competition led to various streamers and gaming figures bidding and outbidding each other, but now 4 have teamed up together to donate a combined total of
$1 million.
Ninja, Mr. Beast, G2 Esports, and AimLab all collaborated to reach that combined total, and it's all going to a great cause. A few people are actually complaining about this because that's what happens in gaming these days, and whining that these skins are ugly. If you feel that way, just take a moment to realize
it's not about you.
the different skins aren't what's important here. It's the $1 million that's going to a great charity. Pull your head out of your ass. If you don't like it, don't equip it. Yes, the skins may be ugly, but I'd rather have 1,000 ninja skins in the game if it meant that millionaires were giving their money to good causes who really need it. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost. Hit subscribe and the bell if you want to stay up to date on all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. That's all for today. I've been Henry Cooper. Bye for now.